Hi everyone, it's Kute here, sending you big love wherever you are right now. I just received an email today from a man somewhere, I won't say who it is, who sent me a really sincere email seeking some advice, seeking some input, seeking some perspective on his situation. And what he essentially said in the email was, Kute, I've met this amazing woman. I love her. I'm profoundly in love with her. I care about her deeply. She's amazing. She's incredible. But deep down, I'm not sure if I'm ready for a commitment. Deep down, I'm not sure if I can fully give her the commitment she wants. She wants a commitment. She wants a marriage, and I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. I'm not sure. I feel as though a commitment and a structure of a relationship is inhibiting my freedom. And what he said was, I want to be free. I want to explore. I want to date women. I want to still explore. There's so much I haven't done with my life yet, and so many experiences that I haven't had. That what do I do? Because I love this woman and I don't want to hurt her. So I want to be free was the essence of his email. And what do I do? Well, my friend, if you're watching this, and for all the men out there and the women that love men who have been in relationships with men that either haven't been ready or willing to commit at this particular point in their lives, this is for each of you. Relationship is never easy. So first and foremost, I want to, if you're in a relationship, if you're in a commitment, I want to acknowledge you for your commitment to commit. I want to acknowledge you because to truly go to that deeper level requires a surrender, and surrender requires a level of death. Death of who you think you are, death, a letting go of control, and a death of the ego. Now, you talk about freedom, that somehow, my brother, you think that date, and this isn't right or wrong, but somehow you have this mistaken notion that you think that just because you date a bunch of different women, just because you are having sex with a bunch of women, doing whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, whenever you think you want, that you somehow think that is freedom. That has nothing to do with freedom. Nothing outside in the world and dating multiple women, having multiple relationships and being free, nothing outside in the world is going to provide and give you a real sense of freedom unless you are first and foremost free within yourself. Free from your own conditioning, free from your own identity, free from your own limitation. And most of the time, because we are conditioned beings, we are so conditioned, identified with this limited structure, sense of ego form, because we are often so limited as me, as my, as this packaged form, body, form, conditioned persona, personality that we so tightly identify with. There is no freedom. To the degree you're conditioned, there's no freedom. To the degree you're holding tightly to your identity and who you think you are, which is often who you've been told to be, there is no freedom. The whole totality of your essence has been locked into the prison of your persona. There's no freedom to that. And often from that place, what we are often trying to do is seek freedom outside in the world. So you have to realize nothing out there is going to give you freedom unless you're free within yourself. To be free within yourself is to know who you really are. If you just chase the momentary whim of your desire, if you just chase the momentary whim of your sex drive, of your biology, of your lust, nothing wrong with sex drive, nothing wrong with any of those things. But if you just chase that, then you end up being a slave rather than someone who's truly free. So part of the first question you need to ask is, what is freedom? What is real freedom for you? What is real freedom itself? Is it what you thought it was, which was not being in a relationship, not committing? Or is there a deeper sense of freedom that you can access, and then from that place, rather than do what you think you should do or rebel against what you think you should do, you can actually choose an aligned choice that is an authentic expression of your heart, not society, not your woman and your girlfriend, not your parents, but authentically in alignment with who you are and where you are in your life right now. Ultimately, I believe there's no right and wrong way. I believe, the way the infinite manifests expresses itself infinitely, and each of us have to find our own unique expression in intimacy, our own unique expression in the forms, the agreements, and the structures, transparently, honestly, in terms of how we want to be in relationship. But most of the time, we're believing our own BS. Most of the time, we're being run by our patterns and conditioning, right? Most of the time. So what is freedom? Find out for yourself. Then you can choose what really is right for you. See, what I found is that the deepest masculine drive, this masculine inside of us all, but speaking to you as a man, if you're listening, and since this is your question, the deepest masculine drive is a drive for freedom. A drive for freedom. And what I have found is, you might ask, well, how do I be free? What I found is unless a man has a spiritual practice, unless a man has a spiritual practice where he has a connection with the divine, when he's just locked in his ego, you're not free. But when he has a connection with the divine, the infinite, that which is eternally free, consciousness, whatever you want to label it, when he has a connection to the divine and his partner has a connection to the divine, you can be free in a relationship, in love together, and not be codependent on each other, not be locked into a limited structure. Unless a man has a spiritual practice where he is accessing his own inner freedom within himself, not out there, within himself. I found that many times as men, you might find, you might feel that the structure of a relationship, aka a commitment in a relationship, might feel like a restriction or feel like it's inhibiting your freedom. Unless a man, so it's important for you as a man, if you want to truly be free and access your real freedom, not the pseudo freedom out here, because out here in the world is constantly changing, right? Things out here are constantly changing, but as a man, often there's a drive for freedom, and as a result, we're often seeking freedom in the world, in the external world. There is no real freedom in the constantly impermanent, changing, transitory external world. It's the wrong place to look for freedom. But there is an intuition. See, what you're intuiting with the impulse of freedom, you are intuiting the freedom of deep consciousness. You are intuiting the freedom of the consciousness of your very being, my friend. And that's what you want. The impulse of freedom is you're sensing the freedom that is oozing through you and as you, but maybe not fully manifesting itself. So the intuition is correct. Maybe the form and the structure isn't quite yet. So that seeking of freedom out here in the world, in things, in relationships, in non-relationships, and non-commitment is a misplaced desire. See, ultimately, the world isn't free, but consciousness is free. And what you are is consciousness. But you forgot, my friend, that what you essentially are, essentially at the deepest level, is freedom. And because of our conditioning, because of media, culture, society, our programming as children, we disconnect from this freedom. We get locked into this limited identity, ego structure, and there's no freedom here. So we seek for ways out in the world to try and get a momentary sense of freedom. So it's important for you as a man to have a spiritual practice. By spiritual practice, what do I mean? By spiritual practice, what I'm terming that as is a practice where you are transcending yourself, a practice where you are going beyond yourself, a practice where you are accessing the void, where you are going beyond this limited form structure that you think is you. And you are accessing the void, accessing the freedom. You are accessing a transcendental realm which is eternally free, not limited to this mind-body mechanism that you have been locked into, wherein there is no freedom. And as you access that, then you tap into a deeper dimension of yourself. Otherwise, you might try and do all sorts of crazy things to try and get a superficial sense of freedom, but it will never bring you a sense of freedom, and you will think you can't be in relationship. But when you truly access that deeper transcendental realm of your being, you realize, oh my goodness, I am freedom. I've been looking for freedom in money, in food, in sex, in power, in fame, in women, in non-commitment, but I am freedom. I am freedom. And when you tap into that level of freedom through your own spiritual practice, in going beyond, what you end up doing is you die to yourself. You are dying, you are transcending, you are loosening the grip, this little grip that we often have, the identification to your ego, to who you think you are. You're loosening that in your spiritual practice, and you're accessing a deeper sense of freedom. And the more that expands, the freer you free inside of yourself, then you realize no relationship structure can inhibit your freedom. Nothing out here can inhibit your freedom, because it's what you are. Then you can decide and choose what you want to do and how you want to participate in relationship with women, or the particular woman you're considering and you're in love with right now. What I will say, my friend, is that love will remake you. Love will reborn you. Love will cause you to die to yourself, let go of control, lose who you think you are, so that only what is real can remain. It's a purification, a transformational path. Are you willing to be remade in love of spirit, remade in love of woman, remade in love itself? It is a courageous path that will require that you let go and open to something more. You know, having coached and transformed the lives of thousands of people around the world, one of the things I've seen with some of my men clients is because we feel this impulse of freedom, or we don't want to commit, what have you, there's often a drive to seek freedom out here, which is what I was saying. One of the ways we do that is through sex. And here's what happens, you know, when you as a man, and I'm speaking to you as the man who asked the question, this might relate to some of you out there, may relate to this. Women, this might give you a certain understanding. As you as a man out there, you know, when you make love to your woman, or a beautiful woman in your life, when you make love to her in a moment of orgasm, in a moment where orgasm happens, boom! In that moment, see, before that you were this limited ego structure, and then you had an orgasm, and everything went kaboom! And what happened? That limited sense of self just dissolved for a moment. You just exploded. In the French, they call it the little death. You just died. And in that is the greatest freedom from yourself, that lasts for a few seconds, a few moments. It's momentary, it's fleeting. So often what happens is, as a man, especially if you've been, let's say, less conscious as a man, there is an inner desire, an inner impulse to experience that freedom again, that loosening from yourself again. And where did you experience that? You experienced that with a woman, having relations, having sex. So there can often be sometimes an addiction, a drive, an illusion to associate that level of freedom with having multiple experiences out there in the world. What you're really seeking in saying, well, I don't want to commit, I want to date other women, I want to be free, what you're really seeking is not what you think you're seeking. What you're really seeking is the depth of your own freedom inside. This is the key. Relationship is death. And I'm not saying it's right for everyone. I'm not saying everyone should or shouldn't. You have to find your own path, feel where you're at, different stage of your life, depending on the stage of your life, depending on what your soul is here to incarnate, learn, evolve for your own soul lessons. Everyone has a different path. I believe there should be no judgment, no right or wrong. But I believe relationship is a death. And many times in relationship, you as a man, I'm speaking to my brothers out there, many times in relationship you will meet a perfectly amazing woman, an incredible woman that you say, I am so in love with her. She's amazing, she's amazing, she's amazing. And it's like you will start running into her heart, and you will start running into her heart. Oh my God, I love you. And then you'll be like, uh-oh, this is too scary. Oh my goodness. Because love will take away who you thought you were. Love will require that you let go. Love will require that you die to who you were. This is the beauty. This is the gift. But it will remake you into the fullest, most authentic, most natural, most true expression of a man that you were meant to be. It is a profound, profound, profound space for alchemy of your being. So my friend, as I wrap up, first feel if you're sitting with this woman, what should I do? You ask, should I commit? Should I not commit? First you have to be willing to commit to your own evolution. First you have to be willing to ask yourself, what is freedom really, and you realize that real freedom has nothing to do with the form or the structure. It has to do with the state of your being. Freedom is the state of your being. Cultivate your spiritual practice. Let go of your egoic identity, and you will know that what you are is freedom. And from that place, you'll be truly free to choose. Love now. If you enjoyed this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my blog, and I have a new book coming out, You Are the One. Check it out, pre-order. I love you lots, everyone. Big hugs.